everybody. It's wonderful to see everyone this morning on this beautiful day in Bethel's Town Square to exercise our constitutional right to gather peacefully and express our views. We are here to defend democracy and to protest recent government actions to restrict our rights. We want to remind everyone that we are not here to argue, shout, or interact negatively with anyone. Don't let that be a distraction from the important work we are doing or the important information we are sharing with you today. Today, our focus is on our right to vote. Your vote is your voice and a hard-won right. This year, we have our local municipal elections, which historically have a very low voter turnout. Exercising your right to vote in local elections helps you to shape the policies of our town, which impact everyone's quality of life. Its importance should not be underestimated. This is the 31st consecutive week that we, Bethel friends and neighbors, have come together to bring attention to the impact of what's happening in our country. Now more than ever, we know that our votes matter. If it didn't matter, no one would be trying to suppress access to voting. Before introducing the speakers who will provide their insights on this issue, I have a few announcements. My name is Kathy, and I am part of the Bethel Rally organizing team. Our other members include Carolyn, Cindy, Greg, Kennedy, Sue, Veronica, Nancy, Aurora, and Katie. We are always looking for more people to help us plan for upcoming themes, speakers, and musicians. If you are interested, please talk to any of us or visit the information table. This week, we are also excited to welcome our musicians, Jenny and Ailish, to our Bethel Rallies for the first time. Ailish is a multi-instrumentalist and a lifelong resident of Bethel. He earned a bachelor's degree in music business at the University of Massachusetts Lowell, where he is continuing his education to achieve a paralegal certificate. He encourages everyone to spread kindness, especially when it is difficult. Jenny is also a lifelong resident of Bethel. She has always had a special interest in music and has been playing guitar and singing for several years. She is currently a nurse and loves to care for others in their time of need. Thank you both for sharing your music with us this morning. We also want to thank Tony Heslin, owner of Notch 8, Shakedown Street Eats, and Fat Tony's Deli, for supporting our rallies and providing water. We hope all of you will continue supporting all of our Bethel businesses, including Tony's Restaurants and Reading Roasters. As always, special thanks to our Bethel Police for helping to keep everyone safe. Before we begin our program, I have a couple of announcements. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Danbury Center for Education and Empowerment is having its annual Safe Walk event in Bethel and neighboring towns this morning to raise awareness about interpersonal violence and to raise money to support their mission. You can participate in Brookfield tomorrow or virtually throughout the month. And don't forget that the Bethel Autumn Craft Fair is until 4 p.m. today on the Municipal Center lawn. Yeah, I love the craft fair. Our rally schedule today approximately is about a half an hour, well, another 15 or 20 minutes for the speeches. Then we will continue to rally at the curb, followed by a short march. We will wrap up by about 12:30, but you're welcome to stay as long as you like. While you are here, I encourage you to take some time to visit our information tables where you can get information on more ways to get involved in community activities, to make a sign, to sign our banner, or to donate non-perishable food items for the Bethel's Food Pantry. I also invite you to visit our website, bethelrallies.org, where you will find Aurora's photos. Thank you, Aurora. And videos from our past events. Thank you, Greg. And also a lot of other rally and important information, so I encourage you to stop by. We are distributing buttons, flags, and bracelets. They are complimentary, but donations support our rally expenses and are always welcome. And lastly, If anybody in a passing car or in our general vicinity says something unpleasant or negative, please stay calm and don't yell back. It's always better to tell them, have a nice day, or remind them that we are here for you too. And now for our wonderful speakers. Our first speaker is Nancy Ryan. Nancy is a lifelong resident of Bethel. She worked for over 20 years as an election official in Bethel. She held various poll worker positions during that time, including being a certified lever machine mechanic when we still use those. Nancy also spent 4 years as Deputy Registrar of Voters and then 6 years as Registrar of Voters Administrator of Elections. She continues to work for the current Registrar of Voters when needed. She has also served the town as a member of the Public Site and Building Commission for over 20 years and was their chair for 10. Welcome, Nancy.
Good morning, and again, welcome to downtown Bethel, beautiful downtown Bethel. Today, as Kathy said, we're talking about voting, voting rights, and elections. Who doesn't love a good election, right? Yeah, all right. So, as Kathy said, I've got a long history in working in elections and in voter registration that goes back even further than what Kathy was talking about. When I was a little kid, my father was Registrar of Voters here in Bethel for a couple of years in the early 60s, and then my mom was elected registrar. Did that through the 60s and 70s, into the 80s. Of course, I took a little while to get into it myself. But I grew up with elections as part of my family and part of our whole family tradition. So I am a self-professed election geek. And thank you to my mom and dad for bringing that into my life, and for me, kind of for keeping it. So back then, when I was a little kid, we voted with the lever machines. And we actually used them here in Bethel until about 20 years ago. It was just about 20 years ago when we started getting into using the electronic tabulators. And growing up that way, I thought the whole entire country voted the same way with those lever machines. And I was surprised to find out that no, other states vote in different ways. New York used to use the lever machines, Connecticut, other states, etc. And I was also surprised to find out that, yes, election administration is among governmental powers which were not, and I say not, constitutionally assigned to the federal government. The voting processes were left to each state with some oversight by the federal government. So it was up to each state to come up with the processes for registration and for elections the way that they did it. Some wrote things on ballots and stuck them in a box that long ago. Some did it other ways. And as there began to be some differences in states and some discrimination, well, a lot of discrimination, then the federal government got involved, started to pass, Congress passed laws, 1965, the Voting Rights Act, 1995, the National Voter Registration Act, which updated everything and created more access to voter registration through DMV. If you go to DMV, they ask you if you want to register to vote. And 2 polling places, to make sure polling places were accessible to everyone, to make sure that people could get in, out, ADA accessible, and also to make sure that people who were working and living overseas or working and living other places and when they were where they were registered to vote could vote through absentee ballots, etc. Students, military, people who are assigned to work in a different place. We have to make sure that they are allowed to vote too. So here in Connecticut, and I'll talk more just a little bit about Connecticut because that's what I know the most, we have 169 towns. Each of the 169 towns has 2 registrars of voters, one Democrat, one Republican, both elected, both win, both serve equally. So when I was registrar, I had a counterpart, and we both worked together, worked out well, etc. Each of the 169 towns has that same situation. Yet our voting systems that we use might be different than New York or Massachusetts, even the next state over. They're made to be, in 2002, when we had the Help America Vote Act passed by Congress, systems were put in place to make sure that they were quick, safe, secure, and easily accessible. And over the years, that's been monitored by 2 different federal agencies, the Election Assistance Commission and Federal Election Commission. So, going to here in Bethel, we have a vote coming up. We have an election coming up in November. Did everybody know that? Everybody know that? Yeah. How many of you are registered to vote? Yeah, everybody's registered. Anybody need to update your voter registration, do anything like that? Got to do it soon, all right? Anybody here on the ballot in November? Anybody? I know some of the people in the back are on the ballot in November. Yeah, we got some people here who are on the ballot. Now, I'm looking at, in the back, I put a sample ballot on the table to check out. That's just for Bethel. If you're visiting us from another town, go to your town's website, look up the sample ballot, see who the people are, etc. In Bethel, we also have charter revision questions on the ballot. Some of those are there for you to read. Go to the town website. You can. It's really small print what I printed, but you want to make sure that you read the charter revision questions too, because you're going to be asked to vote on those. Now I'm just going to run through a couple of things that you really should think about, okay, coming up to November. Here in Bethel, as Kathy had mentioned, we have low turnout for a municipal election. Everybody in the country votes on the first Tuesday after the first Monday of November. So when's the election this year? November 4th. Good. You've been studying. Yay. So everyone in the country is going to vote on November 4th. And even though they're voting in a different way, using a different process, they're still voting in their municipal or local elections. Okay? Every even number year, there's a local election or a municipal election where you elect the people that run the town. The turnout here in Bethel lately has been below 50% for a municipal election, between 35 and 40%. Let's get everybody out to vote this year and break that. All right, let's get it higher. In the even number years, we have state and federal elections. Those are a little higher. State election, governor and all that, sometimes 60%, maybe quite 70%. President, everybody comes out and votes for president, right? Wouldn't you want to vote for the people who are going to directly affect your town and the place where you live? Yes, you want to get out and do that. So I put together a couple of dates. There's a few dates that are coming up. Today, November 4th. Yesterday, November 3rd. Absentee ballots became available from the town clerk and will be available from the town clerk, because the town clerk's part of the election process too, will be available up until the day before election. No, October 17th, that's the cutoff day for voter registration. So if you need to make changes, if you moved and you've got to update, etc., you got to do that by October 17th. After October 17th, you can update your registration or register, but you got to do it in person. You got to bring a bunch of ID to make sure you really are who you are and you live where you live, etc. Early voting starts October 20th. Here in Bethel, it's going to happen here in the Municipal Center in Meeting Room A. If you're not from Bethel and you want to do early voting, you got to go on your town website and find out where early voting happens. The hours are generally the same across the state. You just got to find out where it's going to happen. There are 2 days when it opens earlier and closes later, so you got some late time if you have to do that before or after work. And then November 4th, Election Day. Polls are open the regular time, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. All right, so like I said, there's some info on the table back there, and if you're not from Bethel and you need to find your information for your town, go to your town's website or call your town hall, get in touch with the Registrar of Voters, and get your information that way. Now, we're also going to have somebody speak, and they're going to look a little more nationally at what's been going on, but we want to keep our right to vote, right? Yeah? Yeah. And we want to make sure that it's going to continue happening the way it has been happening, where it's available to all, where it's safe, it's secure, and everyone who's able to can get out and register and vote. So, what are we going to do on November 4th?
Whoa!
Yeah. And if you're going to do early voting, when is it? Nope, October 20th. All right. And I won't quiz you anymore, all right? I'm going to finish up, and somebody's going to come up and I think introduce our next speaker. But let's all get out and vote, because we, the people, have the voice, right?
So that it actually. All right, I need your help again. Thank you. Thank you very much, Nancy. Just to reiterate what she said, on our information table there are voter registration cards and information about our local municipal election in Bethel. Our second speaker is Mary Consoli. Mary Consoli is the current voter service chair of the League of Women Voters, Northern Fairfield County. Mary has been a lifetime advocate for patients' rights during her years as president of the Danbury Nurses Union, AFT Local 5047, and 50 years as a registered nurse. That's amazing. She also fights for workers' rights as an officer in the AFL-CIO Danbury Central Labor Chapter, and as a legislative liaison and for voter rights as a long-term member of the League of Women Voters. Mary was recognized on Danbury Day on May 16, 2017 for her body of work over many years to help the citizens of Danbury. Welcome, Mary.
Hello, and thank you for those kind words of introduction. Your vote is your voice. Use it or lose it. Today, I'm going to talk about something that affects all of us. Our right to vote and voter suppression. Voting is not a privilege. It is a right protected by federal law under Articles 15, 19, and 26. There's confusion because, as the previous speaker, Nancy said, each state manages the procedures to follow in that state. But to vote by federal law, you must be a citizen. And you declare that in Connecticut each time when you register. Now, if you notice, on the registration sheet, that's why I'm showing this, the first question is, are you a U.S. citizen? And you answer this under penalty of law. So you don't have to prove that you're a citizen in Connecticut. You have to register, and that's a requirement. Generations before us, and of course in Connecticut you have to register and vote in your town. If you live in Ridgefield, you have to vote in Ridgefield. Or if you live in Bethel, you vote in Bethel. Generations before us fought hard for our right to vote. Some lost their lives. I'm sure people might here remember Bloody Sunday. Don't let them down. Get out and vote. And if you don't know the information that you need, the League of Women Voters has a nice website, Vote 411. Just go online and get all the information you need, where you vote, when you vote, and also it has information on your candidates so you can learn who you want to vote for. Get prepared. Educate yourself and your friends, and don't lose your voice or power. Voter suppression. If your vote was not valuable, why would someone want to take it away and prevent you from using your voice? Think about that. And what is voter suppression? It refers to any legal or illegal tactic to discourage or prevent eligible citizens from registering to vote. It's deliberate. The purpose, there's only one reason. It's to stop eligible people from voting. Who usually is targeted? People. Historically, racial minorities, mostly black and brown, low-income citizens, elderly, students are handicapped. How do you recognize voter suppression? The restrictive laws that each state puts out there such as requiring special voter ID, proof of citizenship bills. That's why I emphasize in Connecticut that once you register, you don't need to prove that you're a citizen, but other states are requiring this. They restrict voter registration by restricting times of stopping same-day voting. They put limits on early mail-in voting and shorten early voting times. They limit drop-off or requirements for absentee ballots, all so people don't vote. Yeah. What about voting purges? Have anybody, they do this under the guise of cleaning up voter lists, which is legal, and they do that all the time. But they're eliminating eligible voters. What's in the news? You've heard it. The Department of Justice is suing 8 states. They've requested it from 27, and some of the states have sent in public information. But in California, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New York, Oregon, and Pennsylvania, the Department of Justice is suing these states for the list. Why? Because they want to eliminate people so they can't vote. They reduce the polling places, and they put them in places that are not near public transportation. And the cities are in the low-income areas, all so voters cannot get to vote. They don't fund or underfund polling places. It creates longer lines. And they're ignoring the language barrier that was part of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that Nancy mentioned, that gave us these rights. And what about gerrymandering? Anybody here at Texas and their district lines? They manipulate voting districts. Sound familiar? They dilute the type of voters in certain areas. It's happening in Texas and other states. Fortunately, California is fighting back the Department of Justice. And what about misinformation and disinformation? They spread false information and incorrect election dates. And they spread, they say there's voting fraud. There is no proof, evidence presented for any voting fraud, but they spread this on social media. Learn the truth. And what is the impact of voter suppression? There's only one thing. It lowers voter turnout, especially among targeted groups like the racial minorities, the poor, and the other targeted voters. The long-term effects. Voters become discouraged and they don't vote. There's long-standing lines, and people might not want to stand in the lines. They go home. And there's inequality. They are not represented in the laws that are established by the people that are elected. They don't vote in future elections. This inequality can lead to less representation for the targeted groups. And there's decreased confidence in voting. My vote doesn't count. Do we hear this? Oh, it doesn't matter. They don't listen to me at all. It erodes the public trust in our electoral process. If this happens, then voter suppression works. Don't let it happen. What you can do, stay informed, make a voting plan, and vote, vote, vote. And in closing, if you take away one important message from me today, and I'm going to paraphrase the civil rights activist of Joanne Bland. If your vote was not valuable, why are people trying to take it away? Thank you.
One fine morning,
awakened. Bell and chow, bell and chow, bell and chow, chow, chow. One fine morning, I was awakened to find the fascists at my door. Oh, Partigiano, take me with you. Bell and chow, bell and chow, bell and chow, chow, chow. Partigiano, please take me with you. I don't feel frightened anymore. And if I die here, oh Partigiano, bell and chow, bell and chow, bell and chow, chow, chow. If I die here in the resistance, then please lay me in my grave upon the mountain among the flowers. Bell and chow, bell and chow, bell and chow, chow, chow. Among the mountain, among the flowers. Oh, please let me in my grave. And someday people will see the flowers. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. People passing will see the flowers and say how beautifully they bloom. These are the flowers of Partigiano. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. See the flowers of Partigiano who fought for freedom to their tomb. These are the flowers of Partigiano. Oh, see how beautifully they bloom. Please scroll. I can feel a storm coming, something in the clouds forming, something in the waters waiting, and it's so clear. I can feel the air shifting, something in the skies listening, something in my eyes is missing. Crystal clear, but I can feel my heart beating. I can feel my soul dreaming. I can feel my mind's bleeding, and it's so clear. I can feel a storm coming. I can see the rain pouring. Nothing like I saw coming so far from here. If I was tossed aside or buried alive, I know my mama would come running right for me. If I could save lives or buy you more time, I know my swollen lungs would not sing so heavy. If I could break ties, if you were to lie, I know my heart would not take that so easy. But there's a storm coming and I don't wanna leave. I can feel the waves rolling, I can feel the water pouring. Something in the lake is growing, and it's so clear. I can see the light refracting, I can see the cells splitting. Something in your blood is showing, and it's so clear. But I can feel my heart beating, I can feel my soul dreaming, I can feel my mind's bleeding,
feel the storm coming. I can see the rain pouring. It's nothing like I saw coming. So far from here. If I was tossed aside or buried alive, I know my mama would come running right for me. If I could save lives or buy you more time, I know my swollen lungs would not sing so heavy. If I could break ties, if you were to lie, I know my heart would not take that so easy. But there's a storm coming, and I don't want